Hello and welcome to TOTWHU Games. Just finished Spurs 2, West Ham United 0. Gonzo, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I'm furious, actually. I don't even know. I'm laughing. I'm actually furious with what I've seen. It's not just what I've seen. It's the result. I don't think we were too bad in the first half, truth be known. To come out in the second half like that, there's something inherently rotten, I've got to say, at the club. And yeah, that's a very, very weak Spurs team by their own standards. And by the end of it, we had them purring. Got a player that's not in form? No problem. Play West Ham. On a losing streak? No problem. Play West Ham. And this is what's happening at the moment. So I'm furious with that one. The Spurs fans were singing, "You're going down." They may well be right.
Just fucking shit. The second half was just absolutely dreadful. The lack of desire, lack of fight, the attitude, the tactics, the lack of substitutions, everything was wrong in that 45 minutes. I'm a bit with you with the first 45. We'll discuss the game in a second. But that second half was... And then when we went 1-0 down, right, fine, not ideal, but it's a 56 minute. There's 40 minutes of turn things, right? You've got to sit there and wait and wait and wait. And the worst thing is, fine, nothing's coming. I think that's the worst thing. You knew what was going to happen. The first 2 minutes of the second half, there was two warnings when both our players switched off and gave them a glorious chance. There was two warning shots to the manager. Careful here because things aren't quite going right. Spurs have come out with their tails up here. Warning. I'll just ignore them. Don't worry about it. Go down. Wait. Oh, look, we'll start to do so. It's too late. It's just the lack of fight in the second half was embarrassing on our part. I'm not happy about today. First, let's just talk about the first half. You've got to try and do it in a calm manner. But at half time going, so I thought the plan was working. Keep it tight, keep them out. The first 10 minutes, I thought we looked quite good. We got a couple of corners. Yep. Bowen had an effort. We were pressing high. Souček won the ball a couple of times in dangerous places. The first half, generally, we were doing okay. We went in at half time and, defensively solid. Going forward, we had very little. But that's when there was enough evidence to say to Moyes that your tactics are sort of working. Defensively, they're doing okay, but going forward, you've got nothing here. You need to sort something. Nothing.
No, I think, yes, well, yeah. No attack of which to speak. That being said, I think Bowen had 3, shots on goal where he was put through okay, so there was that. But it's not enough to win a game of football. But probably more alarming than that was at the start of the second half, a Gerd gave them the ball, dwelt on the ball, sloppy in possession, gave them the ball. Then almost immediately afterwards, Declan Rice in exactly the same area of the pitch actually did exactly the same thing. You thought,
to the same player, both of them to Kulusevski.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Kulusevski nicked it from a Gerd, and then Rice tried to dribble past him.
Yeah, and he thought, this is not good. And we were, they must have been on. He must have been dishing out. Never mind the halftime oranges. He must have been dishing out the Valium at halftime, David Moyes, because they were completely switched off. We had no vibrancy about us, and as we'd have a bit of fizz in the first half. Actually, we were battling. I thought we were pressing. I thought we were pressing all together, and whilst there wasn't a ton of attacks, I thought we did pose a little semi-threat to Tottenham. And apart from, I think there was a save, like a daisy cutting shot on the 35th minute that Fabianski had to deal with. There wasn't a lot. He's never a lot to deal with in the first half. But so the change was quite stark. We speak about it last week about Moyes not recognising the game what's happening. I was astounded. But you know what? You're going at half time. It gives the Christian Stellini or whatever his name is 15 minutes to sort of have a little tweak up and do some different things. I thought you saw almost immediately actually that I'm struggling to think. I think it might have been Kulusevski actually was closer to Kane, but this before Son came on, and obviously then that Son came on and did what he did. But he'd obviously had a little tweak, and it just marginally tweaked things up as far as I could see from my uneducated eye. And we came out half asleep, and that was enough.
And they made it 1-0 after 56 minutes. Gonzo, two players you wouldn't really expect to be that high up the pitch for Spurs, but they were. And Davies passing it to Emerson, passed it to the back of the net. What did you make of the goal?
Well, it was about Davies wasn't that high up. Davies was very deep. It's an incredibly long pass, actually. So I don't think he was massively out of position. Him, Emerson Royale, granted. What can you say? Agurd never saw him. There's a reason that Agurd never saw him. He wouldn't have thought he was any possibility of going to be there. And let's be fair, unless I've got this very, very wrong, Emerson Royale should have been should have been Emerson's man. Royale should have been Emerson's man. If you said the similarity of the names make it slightly confusing. So I don't know reason for him to think that anyone was running behind him. Maybe he should have had a little check, this, that, and the other. But you saw from Emerson's reaction exactly who was detailed. For that. It's a second sort of mix-up in consecutive games between those two players, although in the Chelsea game I blamed De Gerd. This one I would blame more Emerson. But there was a collective switching off throughout, acres of space, acres of space, too much space to be affording good players. And he's a good, energetic player, Royale.
Yeah, I think it was a fantastic pass from Højbjerg to Davies. Soufal stops running for some reason. Davies is making that run. Soufal's tracking him, and then just before the ball's played, Soufal slows right down. Now, he doesn't quite put the brakes on. He grinds down to a jogging pace, and then Davies keeps running. So that gains him the yards he needs to win that. I think for watching Emerson Royale, I think Emerson can see him. He's got no excuses not to because the ball's over that side of the pitch. I think he's passing Emerson Royale onto a Gerd. So look, you're not marking out when you take him, and I'm in acres of space. The problem is a Gerd then gets sucked in to go over and chase down Davies because Davies isn't behind our defence then. He's behind Kedder, he's behind Soufal. Gerd gets sucked in, and then that leaves Emerson Royale in acres of space between a Gerd and our Emerson. A really good goal, but it's just that lack of quality the game was missing from both teams up until then. We didn't have it up until that point. Spurs didn't have that defence splitting pass in them. Fantastic pass from Højbjerg. I don't think anybody is just purely to blame from West Ham's standpoint, but I think there's at least 3 or 4 players that could be doing a bit better communication or whatever it is, or something didn't go right there. They made it 1-0. They made it, well, to be fair, Gonzo, we made our subs in the 72nd minute. Just under 20 minutes after conceding, the subs come on. About a minute later, it was 2-0 Tottenham. Son.
Very, very quickly afterwards, wasn't it? In the end, he got sort of worn down a little bit. Ogbonna, who'd actually defensively done all right. He'd wandered upfield on a few occasions, which worried me. But by and large, in the first half, he'd handled Kane relatively well, actually, let's be honest there. But I think by that point, there was a bit of argy-bargy going on. I think he'd unnerved him. There was a bit of a wrestle going on. And he made Ogbonna do a sort of little panicked header. And I think Kane read that was what was going to happen. So he was able to pounce on that. And that's the combination we know, unfortunately, so well. 2-0, it's gone. I mean, by that point, it's gone. We might, on a God's grace and a fair wind, if all the planets align, we might be able to get a goal if we got our lucky pants on. But 2 goals, or and that's just a draw. 3 goals from the game, forget it. We can't score 3 goals. So all over by that point, and then it's sort of abject misery for the remainder on it. But and then you're witnessing players devoid of any confidence. You talk about any fight. I mean, I thought Declan Rice was bullied all throughout that game. Yet right at the end, he starts to give it a little bit of attitude.
Yeah, but 90 minutes too late, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying.
It's not very well gobbing off when you're 2-0 down. But where was that?
Yeah, no, that's exactly my point. He got out muscle for the whole game, and then he puffs his chest out right at the end. And but it wasn't just that. It was the way sort of Ben Rama addressed the 2 chances that he had. It was he was gone. It was there was no confidence there. Danny Ings was on. It was the little partnership up front again. And it was. Maybe he had a shot but he was blinded, like in the headlights. He should have laid it off to Bowen, who was in a much better position. But these are little individual bits. My point is not about these individuals. It's collectively. The players are mentally shot. Mentally can't make the right decisions. They couldn't get up for it. They're drowning. They're drowning in the misery of being down near the bottom. They're drowning in the ineptitude of the tactics there. And they need to be given instruction. They need to be given leadership. There needs to be cohesive leadership from the sidelines to give them encouragement to at least let them think we're going to win the game. You couldn't be, even if you're a player on that pitch, you could be anything but muddled by these sort of weird substitutions on the 70th minute. Just a load of old rubbish, really.
I think the tactics worked for the first half, but the thing is, I'll be honest with you, I thought Antonio struggled in the first half. He was working hard. He wasn't being lazy or anything. He was working hard. He was just ineffective. I thought Romero had him locked down. And then I thought Dyer in the second half took the piss out of him to some extent, and with some of the defending. But the first half, there was a change there. But Moyes' game plan, we assume, was to soak it up, to defend well, and get to a certain minute mark, and then make offensive changes. That's what we assume. And what you seen at half-time, the first half, would suggest that as well. We were defending well. We're sitting back. We were trying to get things on the counter, trying to nick the ball in their third, and we did it a couple of times early on in the first half. But the attitude in the first half was good. There were some really good tackles going in. Downs went in. Such went in. I thought, here we go. The boys are up for this. This is what you want to see. But the second half, as soon as they scored, Moyes, and this is my problem. We have an assumption, or I have an assumption, that Moyes has a plan, which is eventually I'm going to bring on him and him for him and him, and I'm going to go a bit more attacking. As soon as we go 1-0 down, that should be happening. You've already got your plan. You've already got that substitutions in your back pocket. Now, of course, you might need to amend them because of the way the game's going. Antonio might be playing a bit better than you expected. Maybe Bowen was having a stinker, but actually, Bowen, I thought, was playing quite well. Antonio was struggling. That was a simple substitution there. You knew the Flynn Downs one was probably the one that was going to come off in order for a more offensive player to go on and go up. That substitution should have happened. It should be all man. As soon as that was 1-0 down, right, get that subs ready. Kev, you know the subs, get them on now. Get them ready to go. Before they've even kicked off, those players should be here ready to go with their 20 minutes. Son came on before we did any subs. They went 1-0 up, and then that geezer, Conte I decided, you know what, I'm not happy with this. We've got them on the ropes. We're going to put on Son now, and we're really good. 4 minutes later, bang, 2-0, Son score. Oh, wow, fantastic. There you go. Nice one. The game was over, I say, by the 72nd, and I'm a bit like you, I'm being generous there. It was arguably over after 56 minutes. As soon as it went 1-0, I thought, all right, well, that's it. We ain't doing it. That attitude in the second half was a disgrace. Emerson Royale was literally doing no-look passes. He was taking the piss out of us, and we all just let him. We just let him. Where's somebody? Hang on, I'm not having this. Where's Flynn Downs, West Ham fan? Get over the other side of the pitch and get through, will you? The last 5 minutes, Spurs were going through all our players left, right, and centre. And so they should. Perisic come on, use his experience. Thought Jared Bowen has had a good game. Bang, have a bit of that. Sufal's got it. Bang, have a bit of that. Booking, no problem. I'll have a bit. I'll take a booking. Don't worry about it. I'm going to see it. Where's our players doing that? Where's our players going in with those tackles up for that fight? We got a free kick at one point. Don't know who, it might have been Skip. Flicked the ball 10 yards, and we just walked after it and picked it up and walked back with it. We were 2-0 down at this point. And I'm not saying I want someone to go chin Skip, but at least get the ball and get it back and just say to the ref, oh, I don't let him do that. He's on a booking. Go get him sent off. I don't like people trying to get players sent off. As soon as Antonio did that second tackle, bam, there's Kane, there's Dyer. I said, ref, come on. Ref, that's a yellow card. That one's a booking. That one's a booking. He should be off there. But it's just enough to get into the referee's head that if Antonio does another foul, he's going to be thinking, hang on, I'm going to have to make a decision here. It's just poor. The second half was a disgrace from us, from our players as well, not just the manager.
You're right.
The players on the pitch as well, actually. They're to blame. They're shackled by the tactics.
Yeah.
They are shackled by the tactics. But I'll tell you what, I'm pretty certain David Moyes doesn't say, Declan, mate, come here. Do you know when you take your corners, can you hit the first man with every single one, please? That is not down to the manager. That's down to Declan Rice. But you look at the manager and say, well, that was happening in the first half. Fucking change it. Don't come out in the second half and keep doing the same thing. Honestly, I was infuriated watching us, even in the first half when we played quite well, with free kicks just inside the Spurs half. At one point, we put Ogbonna up, 40 yards he went up. We knocked it sideways and went along the back. Ogbonna had to come almost sprinting back, thinking, what are you doing? Well, I'm 40 yards out of position now because you've done this. We had this one just before it went in at half-time. Took a free kick, gave it to Rice, gave it to Gerrard, to Ogbonna, to Kerr, who booted it forward to Eric Dyer. I thought, what's the point in that? There's just... it's incredibly infuriating. These tactics heavily rely on us nicking something or scoring through a set piece, but even try and score through a set piece today. It's just bonkers how we were expected to come away with anything playing that way. Baffling, absolutely baffling. I agree with you. That is not a good Tottenham team, but they deserve to win.
Oh yeah,
they deserve to win today. I don't know.
Yeah,
can you speak?
Well, I'll try. I mean, I'm completely fed up, which is, so are the team. We're absolutely completely fed up. I'm sick of this. You're looking at a man completely devoid of any ideas. You're looking at a team shattered for any confidence. Unless something changes drastically, there aren't three worse teams in the Premier League than us. They're really not. I've had the displeasure of seeing all the teams near the bottom play recently, actually, and possibly with the exception of Leeds. Everyone looks better than us, and even they've got a little spark here and there with that Notto, buzzing around and looking a bit of a threat. It's just that it's absolutely terrible what you're seeing here, and ultimately listen to the commentator. The commentator won't say the ultimate thing, Actually, I noticed the co-commentator was sort of alluding to it. He was hinting. He said a couple of times about Moyes' record against Tottenham. He mentioned a few things. And I think Alan Smith was there was a co-commentator was Alan Smith. He said, "Well, I'm sure West Ham will get out of this." And actually, the main commentator said, "Well, stats don't lie." Basically, pretty much saying no, they're a proper crap team. And didn't say those actual words, but that is the truth. And I mean, I don't think it does us any help. It doesn't do us any help in terms of the owners or anything else when these people in the media keep saying, "Oh, they'll be all right." It's Moyes, you know what I mean? And they that all that historical stuff to where he's done badly is expunged from the records. Oh, because all we do is ever cross-reference Everton. That's all we ever talk about. Everton, the good job he did at Everton. Well, actually, there's another body of work which ain't quite so impressive. And I just think we're completely the whole club are completely strangled by this now. I'll tell you now, we'll deal with this in the week, but Forest to be rocking up next week with their tails up, all bright-eyed and boo. They could run. I say run. No one is going to beat us 10-0 or anything like that, but we're not going to score. We just can't score. We can't score goals, and it's depressing. And you know what? You can ask me for a man of the match in a minute. You probably not. I'd rather not. Because I thought not everyone was bloody awful. Some people had their merits. Not everyone was. I actually thought Tilo Kehrer, for instance, wasn't too bad. There you go.
I think two players had a decent game.
Go on, tell us both.
Souček and Bowen.
Right, yeah.
Well, I thought Souček in the first half. First half, Souček was good. Second half, didn't seem anywhere near as far forward as I did in the first half. I don't know if we tweaked something in the second half. I haven't checked. I don't know. I need to go and have I will go and have a look. When I rewatch the game, I'll be looking for Souček's position in the second half, or I can go look at his touch map or whatever. But I'm pretty certain Souček was a lot deeper in the second half. It certainly felt like it. Didn't seem at all in the second half. The first half, he was our best player, in my opinion. He was getting forward. He was nicking the ball outside the box on a couple of occasions, putting the tackles in. He was getting into the box. He didn't get on the end of it. He was getting into the box. Second half, he was just gone. He was back next to Declan Rice. I don't know what happened there, but our one positive thing in the first half was gone. Hang on a minute, where's he gone? I thought he played well, and I thought Jared Bowen looked good at times. But there's only so much he can do when he gets the ball and he's surrounded by 2 or 3 Tottenham players, and he's near his teammate. That's not Antonio. It's 40 yards away. There's only so much you can do. All the boys fought hard. This is the most frustrating thing, Gonzo. The players worked hard today. It would actually be better if they weren't working hard, because you can say, well, there's an easy fix here, isn't there? There's an obvious solution. But the fact is that they are working hard. They're giving 100%. While I'm disputing their aggression and whatnot, their fight, but I thought they worked hard. But that then implies it's down to tactics. It's down to strategy. What the game plan is, because it didn't work. Were the players perfect today? No, that was one of Aguirre's worst performances I've seen. He still wasn't that bad, but that's how good a player he is. When that is a poor performance, he makes a couple of errors, and that's considered poor. But it's just it's crap. It's absolute crap. Now, it doesn't mean we're relegated or anything. I think there's 16 games to go. There's loads of the season left. I know what you're going to say, but there's loads of the season left. But we play like that, then it means we'll get relegated. We need to be better, and we need to be better last week. And this is why I couldn't declare Chelsea and Newcastle as good points, because we've lost today. That's 2 points from 3 games. It's not good enough. We had to get at least a point today to justify those results, performances, and lack of intent to try and win the game. Well, we didn't. We got none. Now those points don't look that great after all. And that's without considering Southampton winning at Stamford Bridge and Bournemouth winning at Molineux and whatnot. So, anyway. Horrible. At least we kept Skamaka fit for his 10-minute cameo against Nottingham Forest.
What did he have to lose on that? You know.
Well, I assume it's because the game was done, so it's why risk somebody that's had numerous injections in his knee. Let's keep him for the Nottingham Forest game. I assume that's what the plan was, but
just don't put him on the bench at all. I mean, it just anyway. I honestly, I can't even be. I'm fuming. I'm absolutely fuming, and I've got to say, with David Sullivan as much as David Moyes now. And this was always going to happen. This was totally predictable. I said, if you don't sort it out, then the attention is going to be turning to him, and rightly so. The attention needs to be turned onto him now, and I want to know what he's going to do, because
nothing. He's going to do nothing, mate. He's got the Forest game, and we might win. I know people say we won't right now, but we might. I haven't seen the Forest game back yet. I'll watch it during the week, but I've seen a lot of people say on another day would be 4 up at halftime, right? But let's just say we win next week. It restarts that whole cycle thing again. He's almost guaranteed March then. If it is a big if we beat Forest next week, he's pretty much got the whole of March. And before you know it, there's only a month and a half left of the season. You might as well just have Moyes is here for the rest of the season. I'd be shocked if even if we got beat by Forest, I'd be shocked if we sacked him.
Well, that's
we'll
as I say, the pressure is now on the board as far as I'm concerned, massively.
Anyway, if you've somehow enjoyed this review, probably not, but if you want to help out the channel, you can drop a like on the video by clicking the thumbs up. I'm desperate. I don't know what else can I say. If you thought Suchet was all right in the first half, click the thumbs up. If you thought the subs were too late, click the thumbs up button. We'll appreciate it. Subscribe to you, Damage Chat. Myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.